Hi, and welcome to the If I Speak podcast, the first episode. I know how excited all of us have been to get on this. We've been planning for weeks and weeks about this podcast, and now here we are, first episode recording. And before we get started, just want to give a massive shout out to key workers such as the people at NHS, people working in supermarkets as well, and all the care workers, key workers out there doing a great job for this country. And if you're new around here, like, subscribe, follow our Instagram page where you can see our introductions on each other and see our best and worst moments as me, Chelsea fan, Abhinav, Liverpool fan, Kunal, Manchester United fan, Shivam, Leeds fan, and Nandhu as a Tottenham fan. So have a look at those. The Instagram app will be in the description below. And yeah, let's get started. The first episode name, as you can see, is called So Far So. So Abhinav, so far so.
So not so great so far. It's been all right. We started pretty well, and then we got a few injuries all at once. They didn't affect us at the beginning because we were beating most of the teams, but then I think now they're finally starting to catch up on us. It's not a terrible situation right now. We're still like 3 points off the top, but we could be in a better situation. I feel like I don't see much changing now unless we do anything in January. But right now it's kind of it's a bit of a like strange situation with all COVID and everything. But we'll see.
But obviously, you guys are the champions at the moment, so you must be like at the start of the season, you must be well excited. Like even that short break over summer where we had to play football and stuff. You guys obviously lifted the Premier League and stuff. Obviously won the Club World Cup. When do you think was the turning point for you in terms of why you're saying it's not so great?
Um, well, I think the most obvious one was Van Dijk.
Right.
Him
Yeah.
going was a big blow. Defensively, like his presence, and also like things like that. Like teams are coming up against us, and they're not fearing us anymore. We don't have Van Dijk, we don't have Gomez, we don't have a strong team, so people can go at us now. And we also have to be somewhat realistic because like teams in the past, it's hard to go back to back. What City did was really good, but it you only see teams like Ferguson's teams who go back to back and do it successfully. Like the past few years, it's been City, Leicester, Chelsea. It's been a mix. So yeah.
What would you like to change then in terms of how the season's going around? Because obviously injuries is out of your hands really. So what would you like to change in terms of how things are going right now?
Um, I feel like the only thing we can do is dip into the market because we're relying on like Fabinho going back in defense, and we're relying on our midfielders to go back and play in defense. So by doing that, like our midfield immediately goes weak, and on top of that, our defense is weak as well. So we don't really have anything to go forward with, and we struggle to create as a result. So I feel like we need to go out and buy a centre back. Yeah, that's my thing.
Anyone spring to mind who you want other than the centre back? If you're looking at
Uh,
anyone, or
I don't know. I think so. If we're gonna sign someone like a big name like Upamecano, it's not gonna work out because I
I think
don't feel
everyone
like
wants him to be
everyone
honest.
wants exactly
Yeah.
everyone wants him, and also Leipzig know that we would need a centre back, so they're
Mm.
gonna up the price for us. So anyone we sign either has to be like a quick loan, and they know that they're gonna leave, or someone long term, and
But
I think that's what the problem is.
But then wouldn't you? I think some Liverpool fans, I'm not sure about you, but some Liverpool fans were kind of blaming Klopp in that sense in terms of not going big in the transfer market, say like us Chelsea have, or even Tottenham, or even Villa have. Um, do you kind of blame Klopp for that, for not going out to get a backup centre back or any backup players? So obviously you signed Thiago, who's been injured, hasn't done that much in that sense, where he hasn't really played. But Jota's hit the ground running, he's done amazing. But um, would you have wanted another defender in the summer? Is that one
Um,
criticism of Klopp, or
yeah. I mean, we sold Lovren. We sold Lovren to I think Zenit,
would you have
something like
kept
that.
him?
I kind of prefer not having Lovren because he's got a mistake in him.
Fair
He's
enough. Yeah.
gone. It's annoying, but we should have replaced him. We did everything else. We got like an extra midfielder. I think that because we didn't know what was going to happen with Wijnaldum's contract, we still don't know what's happening with that. So it's good that we got a midfielder in. We got another attacker in. But yeah, maybe a centre back and maybe someone to challenge Trent as well because he's dropped off massively this season. I feel like if he had someone competing against him, that'd be good as well.
Yeah, I see what you mean there. In terms of going forward, in terms of the summer, depending on how you guys finish, so say you win the league again, is there anyone you'd want in the summer, depending on what you do in January? So if you get a centre back in January, is there anyone you want in the summer? Like you said with Wijnaldum, his contract situation, you don't know. He might go to Barcelona. I think there's talks he might go to Barcelona.
Yeah.
Would you want someone replacing him, or are there other areas that you're worried about?
I heard about Renato Sanchez coming in. But I mean, he didn't do great before at Swansea and all, but he's improved at Lille. So I can see that happening. But the problem is he's also injury prone. So
Right.
yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest. Yeah.
So overall, the season, so you're saying not so great, even though you're joint top or
Yeah.
second right now.
Yeah, but that's the expectation. Like we went 2 seasons, 98, 99 points. So the dip, it was bound to happen. There was bound to be a dip, but yeah, it's about being realistic. So it's an all right season, but yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So we're going to go on to Shivam now, who's a Leeds fan. So Shivam, so far, so what? Talk
Yeah,
to
I
me,
mean,
man.
so far I think it's been all right. Obviously, for anyone that doesn't know, Leeds haven't been in the Premier League for about 16 years, so it's a long time, probably most of my life. But we're back now, and obviously we've had struggles in the lower divisions for numerous amount of years. We had like owners coming and going, managers coming and going. I mean, we broke a lot of records, but all the wrong ones. And then
Fair
obviously
enough.
now we're back, and so far we've actually done quite well. I mean, most Leeds fans on Twitter or wherever, anyone you speak to, they would say that, oh, we could do better, or everyone has their doubts because obviously we're playing against the big rivals like Manchester United, Chelsea,
Yeah,
numerous clubs like that, and obviously you want your team to do well. But I think so far, obviously with the likes of Bamford, the new signings, Rafinha,
he's done well, isn't he,
yeah,
Rafinha?
he's done quite well. He's quite quickly he's transitioned in. And obviously Bielsa is a big talking point in the sporting world now. And I mean, it's been a massive change to the club in general. But yeah, and even Bamford, I mean, I think the biggest the things Leeds fans are most happy about at the moment is Bamford's performance. No one would have
Yeah, because
expected
I've
him
heard
to
like
be,
a couple of my friends from home, they're Leeds fans. They were saying like how trash Bamford was last season. I know he got goals and stuff, but
yeah,
people were saying, oh, he wouldn't survive in the Prem. But to be fair
yeah,
to him, he's done well regarding
yeah,
how many goals he's got and the way Leeds are playing right now. Would
yeah.
you agree with that, or?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I wouldn't say he was trash last season,
Okay, fair enough.
but
Yeah,
definitely he was. He wasn't up to the mark as a striker. I mean, obviously, strikers there to score goals. He did score goals, but he missed a lot of chances. But I think luckily our team is very strong attackingly, so always on the counter. You always see that there's defenders having to push back because the strikers are pushing up. And we did get a lot of goals with the likes of Jack Harrison, even our defenders
yeah.
last
His goal
season.
against
I
Liverpool
mean,
was mad, wasn't it? It
yeah,
was insane.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah, West Brom as well recently.
yeah,
But I mean, even our defenders like Ayling last season, if anyone watched them, they were top class.
mm.
And I think this season defensively we haven't been the best that we could have been. But I think the fact that we've scored that many goals and we're still, middle of the table on our first season up, I mean, I think we've done quite well. So I think the only way is up. Let's just see what happens.
Right.
Bielsa, and let's see. Let's hope Bamford gets a golden boot.
Right. I've been meaning to ask you this since Sunday, yeah. So
Yeah,
obviously you guys lost to Crawley in the FA Cup. Is
yeah.
that an area where you think, oh, Bielsa needs to take a lot of the stick for that, for not progressing far in those cup competitions? Would you be annoyed with that? Because
Yeah,
fair enough in the league table. I'm not saying that Leeds are crap or anything like that. I'm saying like you're not in the title race. You might not be in top four race. Would you have wanted to go on a cup run and maybe prioritize that instead of the league at the moment? What's your thoughts on like your
I mean,
general thoughts on the cup, like
I think
the
it's
cup
mixed
defeat?
emotion. I think it's mixed emotions. I mean, obviously when you see you're coming up against teams against like Crawley and teams from the lower leagues, you don't want to be losing. Forget one goal, we lost by what was it, 3-0. So
Yeah, yeah.
to
Sorry to bring
get
that up again. Just had to
I
ask
know,
you, bro.
yeah, to get completely whitewashed. Yeah, I mean it's not great, especially when we had a lot of first team players. But I think Bielsa does play the way he plays is very like,
Do you think he's
it's
stubborn?
not ordinary. It's not like how any manager would play. It's very, even for Leeds fans, it's very like, you're questioning his decisions every like 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
But I mean, we had a lot of like good quality players, and to see us lose, I mean, it's not the greatest. But then again, we've always been terrible at FA Cups. But hopefully, let's just see what happens. Let's see that we can improve. I mean, these games, they're all learning curves. So let's see what happens, because this could help us in a game against other teams in the Premier League, because we've showed that we've scored goals. I mean, we've done quite well. So a cup run like that to be losing, where we're beating teams like Everton, Newcastle, teams who have been in the Premier League for a long time. Aston Villa, for example, who are in the top 5 right now.
They're marking it, by the way, just on the side note, they're marking the league right now in terms of like the transition from last season, just staying up, and now like doing well. Yeah. Sorry, carry on, bro.
No, that's all right. So yeah, I mean, you don't want to see yourself losing them sort of games, but I mean, it is what it is. You just got to take what it is and move on. And let's hope that in the future nothing like this ever happens again, because we've had enough of this for too long. We don't want to be losing to teams like Crawley or whoever they are, Marine and teams like that. Obviously, low league teams. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
In terms of January, are Leeds looking at anyone to sign, or where do you want to see improvement in your squad or your first team 11?
I think obviously defensively we have been we've sort of just let other teams get us, and it's always like silly mistakes. But I don't think our defenders are bad, so I wouldn't say we'd completely buy a new defense, because obviously we have defenders injured. I mean, we have Koch out, Llorente out, numerous players like that that are obviously not currently playing. We just got Cooper back. And I think the defense, we can work with it. Bielsa knows what to do. We've got good physios. We've got good teams that can obviously get the players back to themselves. But I think midfield-wise, I think we do need a centre defence mid. Can we really rely on Calvin Phillips for the whole entire season?
What a baller, by the way.
I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad player.
Yeah.
He's a great player, but can we rely on one player to, carry us in midfield? Like even Bielsa in the last couple of games, he's dropped Calvin Phillips back as a centre-back because of the deficiency in centre-backs at the moment. So it's just a question that, do we need to bring in another centre defence mid? But I was just reading recently, about a couple of days ago, a big figure at the club, Angus Kinnear, he's he has a lot to do with the club, and he basically came out with a statement saying that even if Bielsa does sign, it obviously won't be, because Bielsa likes to play the long game with his players. He wants to get them ready for when they're playing. So he sort of basically said in a nutshell that we're not going to sign, but if we do sign, they won't be playing this season. They'll be playing come next season. I mean, it's guaranteed we're staying up now, but obviously we would want to be higher up the ranks. But
so in terms of next season, I know it's very early to talk about next season, but in terms of next season, what's the progress for Leeds? So what happens after? Depending, so say if you stay up or just about stay up, is your next priority, say, try and follow what Wolves have done, for example, like do well in their first season back and then get to Europa League? Is that your aim in terms of where you want Leeds to go? Or
I think so, yeah. I think we're looking at, I think this season was more, can we get top 12? I mean, that would be really good if we can get top 12. If we finish the position within the top 12, I'm happy as a Leeds fan, because that's a major mark coming from obviously the lower division. But then the only way up from that is probably, can we get like 6th, 7th, 5th? Can we get a Europa League spot?
Yeah.
Obviously, Wolves have done it. I think Villa
could do it as well.
Are another club that could do it. But then Villa are a team that we've never really lost to in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
So if they can do it, why can't we? Because we do have the players to do it. We have the skill set. So I think that is probably the next thing we have to look at. Can we get top 6, top 7 maybe? I mean, I'd be happy with that. Just push ourselves up the table a bit and just go from there. See what happens.
In terms of Bielsa himself, obviously he's been getting a lot of stick for the past week because lot of pundits praise him regardless of the result.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that in a sense? Would you ever consider replacing Bielsa potentially for his stubbornness in terms of like not setting up defensively and not stopping teams?
Yeah.
Like for example, like Man United, you lot lost 6-2. Like you guys scored some brilliant goals. Don't get me wrong, but you still lost the game and you still lost by 4 goals. Is that an area where you think he needs to like shore up in terms of defense?
I think
and moving forward as well, do you think he would be the right fit for you guys, or do you think he would go somewhere else?
I think I take nothing away from Bielsa. He's obviously a great manager. Probably the best we've ever had in the last however many years, 20, 30 years.
Fair enough, yeah.
But it's a factor of if we're going to continue like this next season, by the end of this season, and however long he stays, then is it really worth keeping him when we've now put ourselves out there? We've got to the level that obviously we can get to. Do we sort of say, okay, we let him go and get someone who's more experienced, who's obviously dealt with Premier League managers, Premier League teams.
Yeah.
And obviously can bring in players to the club. I mean, Bielsa's done that massively. He brought in like the likes of Rafinha, Llorente, Koch, Rodrigo, obviously.
Yeah.
So these players, I
hate Rodrigo, by the way. He scored against us in the Champions League last season.
I know. Yeah. Goals everywhere. I think if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have brought them players in.
Fair enough.
So for that, I have to commend him. And he sort of knows what to do with them players. So, for example, if you look at Rafinha, I mean, he's played a couple of games. He's had a lot of shots. He's missed a lot. But every time you see him on the ball, it's like you know something is gonna come from it by the end of the 90 minutes. Whether it's an assist, whether it's a goal. And let's hope it continues like that. But it's just a question of, can we continue with Bielsa for next seasons? I think it all depends on what happens by the end of the season.
Yeah,
if we
that's
see
fair
where
enough,
we are, and then we just look at it, and then obviously depends on the club, the relationship with the players. But I think, from a Leeds fan perspective, I think we're happy with Bielsa. I mean, his tactics can be a bit questionable at times, but let's see what happens. And then if we can get someone in who is just as good, or if not better, then that could be a bonus for our club as well.
Yeah, fair enough. I can tell. I know how like buzzing you were, obviously, when Leeds came up, and now obviously now you're excited to get on this podcast and talk about Leeds. So big up yourself, man.
Thank you.
So we're gonna go to Nandhu next, who's a Spurs fan. So far, so what, Nandhu? Talk to me, man.
So far, I would say that the season's been pretty average. I won't lie, but I would say that the summer signings have not been as great as I thought it'd be. But probably the signing of Højbjerg has been probably immense for us in terms of how our defense has been, because I can't lie, our defense is just terrible. Now we desperately need to sign a centre back, because we can't be playing with a high line for so much this season, because of that we have to sit back, and that's the reason why the results have been pretty terrible at the moment. I won't lie.
Bro, you still there, or?
Can't lie, it's lagging bits.
Oh, is it? Okay, we'll come back to you whilst you sort that out. We'll go to Kunal next then. Right. So Kunal, Man United fan, obviously. So far, so what?
I mean, I would just start with we are top of the league.
Oh no!
But yeah, after so long, though, I mean, we were on top of the league under Mourinho for some time, but then it wasn't so far into the season. Not after so long, especially in January. But then, I mean, Oli has got us to that position. I mean, I know that there people call Oli a PE teacher and whatnot, but then he's managed to.
I have to be fair, yeah. I think all of us have at some point, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's managed to get consistency out of the team, and probably a weaker side than the previous managers had, because if you look at it, Van Gaal got a lot of transfers, Mourinho got a lot of transfers, but they were still always cribbing about they wanted more players. But with Oli, what you see is that even though he has signed a few players, and in the first summer window when we signed Maguire, when we signed Dan James, when we signed, who was the third player? I can't remember, but then yeah. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka, yeah. So he's got a few signings, but then the board haven't backed him as they did with the other managers. But yet he's been able to bring out consistency. We didn't start the season very well, to be honest. I mean, we lost to Aston Villa, we lost to Crystal Palace, and we thought, yeah, it's going to be another one of those seasons where we're fighting for top fourth. We might finish fifth or sixth. Then that's the best I expected. I thought a top six finish would be decent, considering that we didn't do the business that we wanted to. But finally, once that Brighton last minute penalty, or probably the penalty after the game, things have seemed to turn around.
I've never seen that in my life before. Like, I don't know if, well, obviously we haven't as well, but it's just mad how that happened.
But then, I mean, if you look at it, if before the whistle goes off, I've punched you in the face in the box, it is a foul. And if the referee hasn't seen it, we have VAR now.
It's true, yeah.
It has to go back. And then after that Brighton game, we got consistent and consistent. I mean, we have been performing really well. Earlier, what it used to be like, we got one step forward, 2 steps back, but now we are moving 2 steps forward. And sometimes we go 1 step back, like getting knocked out of the Champions League in the group stage.
Yeah.
But if you look at the beginning, we beat PSG at Paris in Paris, and that was a brilliant performance by United. We beat Red Bull Leipzig, and RB Leipzig are probably one of the best teams in Europe if you consider with what they achieved with the team that they have.
They are, to be fair, yeah, they are.
And then since then, I mean, since we got knocked out of the Champions League, all right, I think the team thought that let's focus on the league and leave everything for later. And since then, they've been doing really well. I mean, we got a result against most teams. I mean, yes, we are losing or not performing as well as we were against the top 6 sides, if you say. I mean, last season, we had the best record against the top 6, apart from Liverpool. Liverpool were top of the league in that mini league, and United was second.
See your smart there, bro. Season, carry on, bro. Sorry.
But last season, what United were doing were setting up according to what other teams were doing. So we were playing more counter-attacking football. But this season, we are playing more consistently. We're building our own style. Yes, we are leaking goals, more goals than last season. Last season, we were the second best defense in Europe. PSG were number 1. So this season, we're attacking a lot more. But that means we are leaking a lot more goals because we don't have the defensive line. We don't have good defensive players. We bought Maguire, but you look at his head. We bought him for heading, but he never heads the first ball. I don't know what's wrong, but then we need a partner to go with Maguire or Lindelof, and then I can probably think that, yes, we can win the league. I won't say that we're going to win the league this season. I think a top 4 finish would be decent and a good season, but then I don't see us winning the league this season.
Say it. It's on the.
Hey, all is at the wheel.
Yeah, all is at the wheel, man. I mean, I am behind. I'm behind him.
Come on.
I'm behind him, to be honest, because he's managed to do what the previous managers weren't able to do. Even though Mourinho got trophies, but those were like secondary trophies. He even called the Community Shield a trophy. I mean, that's a charity game, dude. So Ollie's been doing something really nice.
Yeah, because I'll be real, in terms of United, like, I remember the start of the season, I think the first 4 or 5 games, I was saying to like my school friends at home as well, like to everyone, my brother-in-law as well as a United fan, I was like, there's no way with the way you guys are playing, there's no way you can turn it around. Like, there's no way you can finish 4th or even make 1st, for example. Like, there were teams like Villa, Everton obviously doing better at the time, but now, like, you're right in the sense that in terms of what happened in Istanbul and then what happened after that, you've just gone on a massive like scale up basically, and players are just playing with confidence, to be honest. Do you agree with that in a sense, or do you agree with that in terms of you kind of glad that Spurs 6-1 happened and obviously Istanbul happened as well? Do you think that's massively helped the team, or would you say it's more individual players stepping up?
I mean, one thing what has happened is since Bruno came in, we don't take loss for a result. We're always fighting. And what I think is when the players now go back into the dressing room, they are hungry for the win. If they lose this game, they're kicking themselves. earlier that wasn't the case, but Ollie's brought that in. I just believe that just because he played under Alex Ferguson, he was like, he knows how
Yeah.
to deal with the dressing room properly, even though he can't do it as well as Sir Alex Ferguson, but he somehow knows what to do somewhat. And yes, people say that United are nothing without Bruno, but then Liverpool were doing nothing before they bought Van Dijk in, and that solid defensive capability that Van Dijk brought to the team gave them the license to go forward and be more expressive. So
It's true.
yes,
It's true,
United.
yeah.
So yes, we are building towards something, but we are not there yet. That's what I would say.
Yeah, in terms of yeah, I'll ask the same question as the guy. So in terms of January signings, you obviously got that guy from Atlanta. I forgot his name. Is it Diallo or someone like that?
Amad
Or-
Diallo, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. What were your thoughts on him? Would you want him to start? It's quite obviously it will be quite difficult to get in the team right now in terms of the upcoming fixture on Sunday, which we'll talk about later on as well. Would you want him to slot straight in, or would you start him in maybe the Europa League game or maybe the FA Cup game coming up, or how would you manage him in terms of how would Ole manage him?
I don't think he'll go straight in the first team, even though words coming out of Italy are that he's very talented and he is capable of going into the first team directly, but he hasn't played a lot this season, even for
Okay.
Atalanta.
Oh,
And-
okay, right.
And I don't think any player coming from a foreign league directly into the Premier League will settle down really quickly. They always take time to settle in the Premier League. Every good player, even the best players in the past, have taken time to settle to the Premier League space.
Yeah.
Like you are a Chelsea fan, you can see that Thiago Silva is struggling, even though he's been a top centre back for so many seasons. So
It's
I
true.
don't
Yeah,
think
it's true.
he won't settle into the team straight away. But then, yes, I would probably play him again in the FA Cup games and the Europa League games, the easier ones though, because I guess Liverpool will put out their U23s again against us in the FA Cup because they always do that. I mean, you never know, but then that's what I'm guessing. So maybe play
Yeah.
him in that game and see how he performs against a Liverpool side who won't be as strong, but they have the confidence that Liverpool have.
Yeah, exactly. In terms of what you need, so in terms of rectifying the areas in your team, what would you want? So there's obviously a lot of talk of Sancho coming in last season and stuff. Obviously you guys didn't get him. Would you still want someone like him, or would you want someone else, or prioritize other areas? What are your thoughts on just signings in general? What do you guys need, basically?
No, in the summer, I was hell-bent that we needed Sancho and a lot of our problems would go away. Since Bruno came in, we are a lot more attacking, and I thought that Sancho would add that quality. But then now what I see with Oli is he's building a style of play. Like I said earlier, he's not playing counter-attacking football. He's not reacting to what other teams are doing. He's building his own team. He's
Right.
building his own style of play. So since then, we've started leaking goals. Now that we are playing with the ball, we are leaking goals. Maguire and Lindelof are not good enough. So if you can't buy a top centre back, because we need a top centre back, we can't do with a makeshift centre back for now. If we need to sort our defense out, so either get a centre back or get a centre defensive midfielder who's really good, who can cover for defensive mistakes that basically Maguire and Lindelof make. So those are the two positions that I would like to prioritize, not the right wing.
So you wouldn't get a right winger in, or that's fair enough. That's fair enough, to be honest. I have to ask, man. Do you honestly think you'll win the league this season?
No, I don't think we would.
No.
I mean, it would be great. It would be euphoric,
Yeah.
and it would go with the term that people have been saying is that 21 and 21. But then I don't think that we'll win the league. It's still City's or Liverpool's to lose.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Right, we'll go on to Nandhu now, see if he's sorted out his technical issues back at home. Nandhu, you there, bro? Or
Yeah, I'm here, bro.
yeah,
Sorted out.
Talk to me, man. So far, so what? Talk to me, bro.
So far, I'd say our season's been pretty average considering the signings that we made over summer. I would say that two of the signings have stood out so far, Højbjerg and Reguilon, who Chelsea obviously wanted to sign.
Yeah, do you know what, Rob? I'm like, sorry to interrupt there, but Reguilon's such a baller, man. Like I said from like day one, like Reguilon. I was talking to one of my uni mates who's a Spurs fan as well. I was like, you said Reguilon's better than Chilwell. I was like, do you know what? They're actually both the same in my opinion. But yeah, Reguilon just smashed it, bro. Like I wish we got him in a sense. Chilwell's still great, but yeah, Reguilon's a baller, man.
I mean, considering how much we paid for both of them, I think they've been absolutely world class this season, especially Højbjerg. He's been probably saving our defence, considering that we have Dyer and Alderweireld as our centre backs.
Mm.
But prior to the past couple of games, I would say that Dyer has been probably good. But like the past couple of games, I've also exposed that he's poor in the air, and we definitely need a centre back going further into the season.
That's fair enough. In terms of so say last month and stuff, you guys were top, approximately top or second. Do you only think back then that you could win the league, or do you think there were still areas that you needed improving on?
No, there's definitely areas that we need to improve on. Probably we need to bring in a right winger or another centre mid, because we're lacking that creative player since we let Eriksen go, obviously, last season.
Take him back.
And
would you take him back?
Would I take him back? That is a tough question, I won't lie, but he's probably what we need coming off the bench, probably. He wouldn't be a starting player for us.
Yeah.
But he'd be that creative player that we obviously need.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Okay, right. I have to ask you about yesterday as well, bruv. Because I know, obviously, off air, you were on a raging mode, and I think that's a sensible word of saying. You were on a massive rage, and you're like, "Oh, lads, I'm going to say it for the podcast. Say it for the podcast."
Bro,
what?
Bro, that performance.
Now I have to ask you now. How do you feel about yesterday?
Yesterday just proved that we need probably at least 2 or 3 players to bring into the squad to at least challenge for the Premier League. I'm not saying that we will this season or even next season, but I'm saying we need to bring in a player like Sabitzer who can play wherever as a right winger,
he's a baller,
centre mid,
yeah,
and can track back as well. And we definitely need a centre back. I heard that we're interested in bringing in Eder Militao on loan for the rest of the season.
He's a good player.
Ideally, I don't want to be bringing in a player on loan for a season. I'd rather bring in someone like Skriniar, who obviously wanted to join Spurs back in the summer window.
Yeah, he's a good player as well. In terms of Mourinho, what are your thoughts on him? Because a lot of Spurs fans are, I wouldn't say turning against Mourinho, but kind of questioning him in terms of his mindset and his approach to some games. What are your thoughts on Mourinho this season? And do you think he's the right man to take you to those trophies and stuff with the way that he plays football? Or
bro, you know what? I'm seeing on Twitter that people are saying Mourinho out already. But
really?
Yeah, I'm saying that they want Mourinho out. I'm saying that we're still in all the competitions that we qualified for so far.
Yeah.
Carabao Cup final, still in the FA Cup, Europa League. Premier League is still early days, obviously, with 21 games to go and still, I think, 6 points behind. So I'm not saying I blame him considering yesterday's game, because we had 7 big chances.
Yeah.
And Son clearly had 4 big chances missed. So clearly that's not something we're clinical on so far.
Right. And in terms of the Carabao Cup final you got a lot of qualified for, is that the foundation, do you think, for Spurs to go further on and on for bigger trophies and stuff? Or
I'd say, yeah, that's probably a stepping stone for us to be able to challenge for the other trophies, probably the bigger trophies coming into the season.
Yeah.
If we do win it, it'll probably give us the confidence that we need.
Yeah.
Considering that we haven't won a trophy since 08, man, come on.
Mate, do you know what? I'm loving that. I hope you guys never win a trophy. That's just me talking in terms of a Chelsea fan. But yeah, no, on a real yeah, I'm kind of glad the way things are going. Like yesterday, you could have lost that game, to be fair, and it could have.
No, we should have lost that game. We should have lost that game in the second half, but first half we should have killed the game. And seriously, we should have been 2-0 up easily.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Oh, sorry, just froze there. Oh, yeah. So looking ahead to some of the games that are going on this week and stuff, you've obviously got the big one on Sunday, United Liverpool, top of the table clash and stuff. How are you guys feeling about that, Abin, or specifically Abhinav and Kunal? So I'll go to Abhinav first. How are you guys feeling about that?
A lot's riding on the fact that Matip might or might not play the game.
Yeah.
So I think if Matip plays that, that's a big boost for us, because I can't trust Nat Phillips or Reece Williams. Like we've seen from like the cup games, they're not at the Premier League quality, and
Right.
all they need is one quick play in behind, and then they're exposed. So someone like Rashford, who's just waiting for that moment, can punish them. So depending on whether Matip is fit, like if Matip's fit, I'm pretty optimistic. If he's not, I'm worried. But it's Liverpool, and Liverpool at home, a big game. I can be confident going into a game just on that alone.
Are you worried about any players in terms of United that could threaten, obviously, the result and stuff? Swinging their way.
I mean, the obvious one's Bruno.
Yeah.
He's really consistent, especially away from home now. This season he's been insane, and I'm worried about Rashford, but he sometimes he can be quite inconsistent. But yeah, it's just what kind of Rashford turns up on the day. Like if it's the explosive, the confident Rashford coming up against like Nat Phillips and an out of form Trent, it's not looking good. But yeah, so we'll just have to see. And maybe Eric Bailly, like since he's come in with Maguire, they've looked pretty solid, and he's looked pretty good as well. So if Eric Bailly has one of those days where he's just blocking shot after shot after shot, it's going to be quite a long day.
What's your starting 11 then for Sunday?
I think so it will be Alisson, Robertson, Fabinho at centre back, and it's between Nat Phillips, Reece Williams, and Matip. So if Matip's fit, I would play Matip, but if he's not, then it's just choosing between like garbage and other garbage. So like anyway, I'll go with Nat Phillips just because Reece Williams just like he was playing against a 16-year-old and got caught out. I forgot his name again. Who was it? The Villa player?
Who is it? Louis Barry, that's it. Is that
Yeah,
Louis Barry, that's it. Yeah.
I swear someone said that was Gareth Barry's son or something.
Yeah.
And you believed it.
I believed it only because Gareth Barry played for Villa, and I thought that might actually be his son or something.
Someone edited it on Wikipedia, so.
Yeah.
Was it you? Yeah.
No, not me. I wouldn't do that. Not to a young one.
Fair enough. Yeah, sorry, Karen with your starting 11, bro.
Yeah, so Matip if fit, or it's just Reece Williams or Nat Phillips, and then Trent at right back. And then midfield, I'm guessing it's going to be Henderson, Thiago, Wijnaldum, and then the front three, Salah, Mane, Firmino. Like I'm only saying that because I feel like Klopp likes to play it safe in the big games. He likes Wijnaldum, he likes Henderson in that midfield, and you can't drop Thiago. Thiago's undroppable, so that's where I see it happening. We could play like 4-2-3-1, where we have Henderson and Thiago as a 2, and maybe bring in Shaqiri. But I don't see Klopp risking that, like taking that risk. But every game Shaqiri and Thiago play together, they've changed it, so they made a big difference.
What are your score predictions? Honest
score predictions. I feel like we're going to concede. Okay, I'm going to go a 2-1 to Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool. That'll send you top, right? I think.
Top and goal difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now on to Kunal. Now, what are your thoughts going into the big game on Sunday, bro?
Really big game. I mean, even if we draw or win, I mean, 2 results are in our favor. If we draw, we stay top of the league. If we win, we go 6 points clear. So the only way we lose that position is if we lose the game. And what I believe with the current United team is that they won't set up to draw the game. They'll go out to win the game. So I think that it's going to be an open game and there are going to be goals. It won't stay a 0-0. But one thing that I am worried about, and I mean I know will happen, is that we will give away goals because our defense is not that good. But what I'm also confident about, which I haven't been in the past, is that we will score goals. So it's going to be an open game. But I think that just because it's a really big game, both teams will turn up, and Liverpool, seeing that United are top of the league, will be hungry, and United, just because they haven't been in that position for so long, will be hungry as well. So it's going to be a good game.
In terms of starting 11, then who would you put in the starting 11 for United?
I mean, it's not about who I would put, because Ollie seems to have his favorites, and it's going to be David De Gea in net. Henderson is not getting a chance.
Yeah.
And for right back, we're going Aaron Wan-Bissaka because he's got no competition. He's the best right back at United at the moment. In centre defense, I would personally go with Maguire and Bailly, but I know that Ollie will go with Maguire and Lindelof, and that is why Lindelof was rested for the last game, because he didn't want to risk.
That's interesting, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. And then at left back, it's going to be Shaw. I think that against Liverpool, we are going to play a midfield diamond with Fred, McTominay, Pogba, and Fernandes.
Right. Okay.
Which could then lead to a 4-2-3-1 where Pogba plays from the left. And our front two are going to be Tony Marshall and Marcus Rashford. So that's what I think is going to be the team.
I think what you said there about Lindelof and Bailly, do you honestly not think Bailly will start with how he's playing, or is Ollie worried about his injuries?
No, I don't think. I mean, if he can give McTominay the number of appearances he has, if he can play with Maguire and Lindelof, even after the performance that Tuanzebe had in Paris, I don't think that I don't think that he's going to drop that. And the only reason that he rested Lindelof and didn't want to aggravate his injury in the last game is because he wanted to play him with Maguire.
Yeah, and what's your score predictions for the game?
I would say 2-2.
2-2. Wow. Okay.
It's a draw.
You guys think it's going to be high scoring?
I said earlier we are going to score goals, but then I'm very confident we are going to concede also.
Wow. Okay. That's fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough.
I mean, to be honest, like these type of games, Liverpool United, it's never been high scoring. I can't remember.
I'm surprised.
It's always been
like
a
2-1s and 2-2s. I was like,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be a great game, to be honest.
I think Liverpool might just edge it. I don't know why I have this
feeling,
but I think United have the goals. You can't deny that United will score. Whether it's Rashford, Fernandes, they have an attacking team. I mean, as much as I hate United, I'm just going to come out with it because there's no denying it. I mean, we got levered 6-2, so I can't really say anything else. But I do think Liverpool will edge it. But I think it all depends on if Salah turns up. You know, Mane is always going to be there attacking. It's always going to be like Mane versus Shaw or whoever's playing. So I think it all just depends on that. But I think Liverpool might just edge it.
That's fair enough. Yeah. That's fair.
So Dormish.
Yeah.
My guy, how would you say your season has been so far?
Do you know what? Like, hearing you guys speak is like, I was speaking to a mate yesterday. I was like, out of all of our explanations and stuff, like Chelsea are on current form. We're actually the worst team at the moment. We're just like, I don't even know where to start in terms of like.
I agree with you, mate.
Huh? in terms of last month, like this time last month, we were like second or first in terms of like up there in the title race. But then since December began, we've faded away so badly. We bottled it again in December, basically. Same thing happened last season, same this season, and like. I don't know, Frank Lampard's just getting a lot of stick right now, rightly so and wrongly so at the same time. I'm not saying Lampard out or anything, because I still think he could be the guy to take us forward because of the players that he's brought into the club, like Werner, Havertz, Ziyech, which arguably haven't done well. Like, we've been debating a lot off camera, I know, but I'm not saying that they've done well, but stats show that they're getting the goals and the assists, but not to the level. So obviously they're banging in goals against Morecambe and stuff. It's obviously great. You have to beat the teams in front of you, but you have to do it in the Premier League. That's the main objective. But in all fairness, in the Champions League, we absolutely bossed it, I think. Like, we won almost every game. Drew nil at Krasnodar, which didn't even matter anyway, because we were top of the group. Like, Sevilla away, like, I think from then, that performance there, that was our best performance of the season, and arguably that's the last time we actually played well. We could argue Leeds as well. Like Leeds, we obviously won 3-1, but as soon as CH went off, I was worried. I was like, God, it's a hamstring injury. He's been out for a month and stuff.
Yeah.
Even then, I was worried. I was like, we can't replace someone like that. There's no one in the team that's like that, who's going to break that line of defense, play a long ball through. And then even against Spurs, we should have beaten Spurs, in my opinion, as well. Like, the amount of chances we had, like, we had Abraham up front who could head a ball to save his life. We should have brought in Giroud earlier, but...
You lot should have won that towards the end, I won't lie.
Should have, yeah. Giroud had a good chance at the end to win. And then, obviously, Werner scored that really good goal. Even though it was offside, it was a quality finish. But we did have chances in that game. And in terms of how December's gone, it's just gone. It's gone really badly, basically. It's just... obviously, we lost to Wolves, lost to Everton. Then, God, I can't believe I'm going to say it, but we lost to Arsenal as well. And, like... Sorry, any Arsenal fans out there, but so we can't lose to them, man. It's like,
man, you lot gave them the confidence.
You don't need to be sorry to Arsenal fans.
Oh no,
Now look Arsenal, mate.
Too fair, big up my Arsenal mates. Yeah, rate them bears, but like we should have beaten them. They put a young team out. It's like the players aren't hungry. We got so complacent over Christmas, and that's the problem we get with young players. And then like even when we're doing well, like Thiago Silva hit the ground running, did sick. Like arguably maybe the best centre back in the league at the moment, without Van Dijk. I still think he's bossing at the moment. Thiago
Really?
Silva. Yeah.
What would you say about Ruben Diaz?
To be fair, Ruben Diaz has stepped up, but he hasn't been playing from the start because he came in a little bit late, didn't he, as well? So, and obviously I'm going to be a bit biased towards Thiago Silva because it's Thiago Silva in it. But yeah, Diaz has smashed it as well, to be fair. But our defensive record was actually the best for like a month or two, but ever since December, it's gone badly basically. And like, obviously rival fans will look at Lampard spending money and stuff. It's all good and well saying that, but these things take time. It's like it's not going to happen overnight. Like you have to wait for this team to gel. And I understand at the end of the season, if we don't finish top 4, then you can look at Frank Lampard because we got into top 4 last season where we had no players basically. We sold Hazard, got like 120 bags for him. Had a young squad. We managed to make top 4. Brilliant, excellent. Like had a lot of players coming through like Reece James, Mason Mount, Abraham as well. Kovacic stepped up last season. This season he hasn't been that great, but in terms of right now, like even against Arsenal, on the lineup on paper was amazing. But why would you risk Chilwell and Reece James when they're half fit? It's like watching that game. Like I could have slotted into right back over Reece James. Like I would have been more of an impact than Reece James would have, because he was just not fit for the game. It's like there's players there for a reason. Aspilicueta is there for a reason. You stick him in there if Reece James is not fit, and then Emerson as well. I would have played Emerson because arguably at the time, because we had Villa the next game, Villa was a more important game than Arsenal for us in terms of the league table and stuff. So I would have played Reece James and Chilwell in those games because they would have had a few extra days to get them up to speed and stuff. But yeah, it's just gone to shambles. Like we're sitting here worrying about how Aston Villa are doing in Southampton and West Ham. That's how low we've dropped. But the beauty of this season is anything can happen. Literally anything can happen. So a couple of wins will be into 5th or 6th. We might even be off like 2nd or 3rd. Like I'm not saying like even the start of the season, I never said we'd win the league like at all. Even with the players we signed, because we're still player short and stuff. But in that sense, the players have got to be doing better in the sense. But I blame Frank and I blame like other players as well, just because of Frank's management of players. Like there's been times when he subbed on too late and then he's not taking risks in the 65 minute or bringing players on. So it's like, what's the point? It's like, what's the point of bringing an 80th minute? Like even Giroud against Spurs, like why would you bring him on so late? And he just waits for too long, which is something we saw with Sarri as well. I kind of see bits in Lampard and Sarri. You might as well fucking call him like Maurizio Lampard or something. So yeah, I see those kind of like similarities in them. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Chelsea this season, to be honest.
Damn, bro, you're gonna passionate around about your club. Speaking about one of your signings, What's your thoughts on Werner playing on the wing?
Oh, do you know what? Obviously, we've talked off camera about this, but I think I kind of feel sorry for Werner in the sense that he's been forced to play there. because if you watch Chelsea properly, he's helping Chilwell more than he's actually attacking. Like, don't get me wrong, those misses, those sitters, like nobody misses those. Like, not even a goalkeeper that under fives missed that. Like, you got to score those. It's like any position you play, you have to score. But in the sense that he's doing all right in this first season, like in terms of what the stats show. But obviously, stats can lie and stuff, as we said before. But yeah, I think Werner just needs to play up front and just needs to bed into the team more. Like, we should have rested him more, I think, than we could have. Because I think we're relying on too much. Same thing happened with Abraham last season. We played him too much. He got overplayed, and his form dipped. And then as soon as he got time out the team, he actually did well post lockdown. Tammy Abraham did all right. Maybe that's what Werner needs. Maybe some time out the team just to get his feet up again, get them running again, get some energy from home or whatever. And yeah, that's my thoughts on Werner really.
Do you think it will change? Do you think he'll get better eventually this season or next?
Well, obviously, I want him to, like, as Chelsea fans, we want him to, and like, he's a good player. There's no discrediting that, but I think in his position, he just needs to play in his position, have the players around him playing, because, and I get the sense that the Prem might not be for him in terms of not a lot of space and stuff, because that's what he thrives off. But I think that if he plays in the right position, and then I'm not going to say Lampard out or anything, but maybe if we get Hassan Hutel or Nagelsmann in, because they've worked with Werner, they obviously know his strengths. Maybe they could get the best out of him.
Yeah,
that's my thoughts on Werner.
Because I saw online that someone wrote an article maybe in the summer when you signed like Werner and Havertz, and then they looked at the two players. They looked at the heat maps. So like if you look at Werner, most of the time he's stuck on the left, right? And then if you look at Pulisic, he's also on the left.
Yeah.
So then you look on the right hand side. Ziyech's heat map last season. It's the same thing. He's on the right hand side, and then you bought Havertz, and it's the exact same thing. So do you think it could have been you maybe bought the wrong players with the team you have?
I kind of agree with that in the sense that I think we've got the right players that we've got at the moment. I think there's no discredit because we've got like 3 or 4 seasons worth of money, and it's like you want to get the best out there. And at that time, Werner Havertz were tearing up the Bundesliga, and obviously people say it's Bundesliga, but it's still the top German league, so there can't be bad players. But yeah, in terms of what you said, in terms of those like stats, like Pulisic on the left, Werner on the left, it's just I know Werner plays off the left, but he's playing as a winger, not as like a Mane would as a left forward in that sense. But I've always said before, like Reece James works better with Ziyech in front of him. Like Azpilicueta and Ziyech doesn't work, and that was very evident against I can't remember what it was, but yeah, it just doesn't work because Reece James is quick, bombing forward all the time. Ziyech can put those beautiful crosses in as well, but I do feel he overcrosses it like a lot of times, like especially against I think it was Villa. It's like, why would you put crosses into him when there's nobody there, or even City as well? Like we got absolutely like smacked by City. It's like, why are you putting crosses into Werner, who's up against Ruben Diaz and John Stones? It's like, it doesn't make sense. Play to his strengths and stuff.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Are you happy with how Chelsea are doing though after spending like 250 million, or would you want like more transfers in January?
Yeah, I think I've said this to you guys before. Like, we're still not done yet in terms of transfers. Like, I know it's funny and stuff, and it's like a lot of people say like we spent 250 mil, but the team's not done yet, in my opinion. Like, we still got to bring players in. Like, someone has to challenge Edouard Mendy, because let's be real, yeah, spaghetti hands ain't good enough in goal. That's Kepa, by the way, for people who don't know. Willy Caballero, he's decent enough as a backup keeper, but we need someone that's a little bit better than him, someone to challenge Mendy. That could be one position. Left back, oh my god, Chilwell, just absolute baller. Emerson and Alonso, they're not even footballers, so we're gonna have to get a backup left back, in my opinion. Also, when Thiago Silva goes, maybe in 2 seasons' time or next season, well, I think he's got a contract extension for next season. So the season after that, we need a centre back. Like, everyone's looking at Upamecano. Everyone's looking at this new guy called Botman. He's really good as well.
Yeah.
And like you said, Militao. Like, we'll be looking at the same players as like similar to you guys. So I think centre backs we definitely need. I think Right back, I think we're fine. I think the big one that we need is Declan Rice. I think he's going to be so important for us. Like, I think he's kind of said already that he wants to stay in London. So, and obviously,
I think you've already have signed him, so he's
yeah,
already a
we
Chelsea
basically
player.
have, yeah. But obviously, he was Chelsea academy. He's besties with most of the Chelsea team. Mason Mount as well. Yeah,
His
we
family
just need.
supports Chelsea, so
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, I think more than anything, we need Declan Rice because I feel Kante, he's a baller and everything. I'm not saying Kante is shit, but you can't play that lone DM role like Declan Rice. But all we needed in the Arsenal game, for example, is someone to grab the balls of the players and be like, "Yo, this ain't over yet." Because I've noticed as well, like especially in December in the past month, like as soon as we go a goal down, we crumble like anything, and there's no leaders out there. And Kante's not the kind of guy to say, "Yo, we can get back into this." So I think Declan Rice in that sense will be vital for us in terms of just bringing leadership. He's very versatile, can play centre back as well. But obviously we want a proper centre back who loves defending. I've said before, like, why not look at Burnley defenders? Like, I don't get what it is. Like, nobody looks at these kind of players like Tarkowski or Ben Mee. It's like, go get one of them who love defending, have pride of defending. Go to Wolves, Leicester. I'm sure we can get players from there.
Southampton.
So, and even I said, Southampton, like Vestergaard as well, who's done sick this season.
Werner.
Yeah, and in terms of the forward areas, like funny enough, I still think we need a winger. Like it's just shown, like with injuries to the season as well, which has been peak for us as well. Like we should have got Ben Rama in my opinion. Obviously, he chose West Ham, but we didn't really go for him. But we need a winger. Like why not get someone like Daniel Podence or Neto from Wolves? Why not go for one of them? Who'd be happy to sit on the bench and then come on when they need to. Someone like Jota. Jota would have been perfect for us. Perfect for us in the sense that he wouldn't mind being benched, but then when he comes on, he makes an impact. And then maybe when Giroud goes, maybe a striker, because Abraham and Werner up front, I'm not convinced by that at all. Like, we'll need another striker in this terms of like challenging them as well. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Chelsea. Yeah, sorry.
What would the budget be for this? Would you add another 100 million, 200 million? Like, how much do you need to spend for Lampard to,
Yeah, do you know what? These players aren't going to come cheap. So, in a sense that I won't be surprised if we go on another like 250 mil like spending bender or whatever you call it. Like, because at the end of the day, we still need like players. It's very evident in the table as well. So we still need players, and I think Lampard will get back in the sense that Abramovich won't push him around like we have with other managers that have gotten sacked already. Like I think it's been a new direction and new like leadership in Chelsea in the sense that we sack managers even when they won trophies. Like Antonio Conte, we finished 5th, we got an FA Cup and he got sacked, and it's like okay, fair enough, we didn't make top 4, but you still got a trophy in there, which obviously Spurs are not used to. So.
Had to put that in there.
Yeah, obviously, man. Come on, I have to put that in there. But yeah, but I think there's been a new direction for Chelsea that I think Roman Abramovich is backing Lampard to the point where can he get any more out of the players? We don't know. Like, who knows if Werner, Havertz, and all these players are going to be successful? Like, we don't know that. We can only hope. Well, I can only hope. Obviously, you guys won't, but only I can hope. Innit? So yeah, and looking ahead to like the fixtures as well, we got Fulham over the weekend. Like obviously they did what they did yesterday. Fantastic result for them. Like I've got into that game more worried now in the sense that every time Lookman gets the ball, I'm just gonna close my eyes, man. Like he's such a baller, man. He's so good. Like even him, well, why not go for him as well? We can saw him lower him away from Fulham as well. Like why not get him? But yeah, and then we've got Leicester away on Tuesday, I think. Which is going to be tough as well. Very tough game. Very, very tough game. So I'm not sure if we'll get a result. I hope we do. With the way we're playing right now, if Frank sticks to what he's doing right now, then I see us getting 1 point or maybe no points in both games. But yeah, I definitely think that he needs to change it up a bit just so that there's fresh legs in there. Because even Havertz and Hudson-Odoi, they've actually done well coming off the bench and stuff. Against City, obviously got the goal. Hudson-Odoi and Pulisic have been like our best like attackers. Like Pulisic has done like he's carrying the attack right now. Like I know the goals in the system show for it, but he's actually a threat to other teams, which is something that we've lacked for the past month. And in terms of like upcoming games for you guys, so midweek games. So Shiv, have you guys got a midweek game or not?
I think we've got a Southampton game, but that got cancelled because obviously they have to play FA Cup.
Oh, fair enough.
And then I think we play Brighton, is it? Yeah, Brighton.
Right.
And then we obviously have another game on game week 19. Obviously the double game week, but obviously one game's cancelled.
Yeah, fair
So
enough.
we still have one of the two, which is not that bad because obviously we probably have a game later on in the season.
Okay, and just the last bit of this video now. So we're gonna all of us, just give our play of the season so far and why. So we'll just do this very quickly before we wrap this up. So I'll start with, who should I start with? Okay, I'll start with Kunal. Your play of the season so far and why?
Bruno. I mean, he's massively turned it around for United. And if you can see, no player has been more consistent. Yes, you can make comparisons to Kevin De Bruyne, but Kevin De Bruyne basically is a different type of a player. He's not the Bruno kind of a player. And what Bruno manages to get out of the team around him is sensational. Kevin De Bruyne is a piece of the puzzle, but he has really good players around him. But with Bruno, on his back, he's got Fred and McTominay most of the times. So what he's able to get out of them, what he's able to perform with them behind him, it has to be Bruno.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll go to Nandhu next. Your play of the season and why so far?
You see, I've got a choice between two players. It'll be Bruno, but I'm going to say Harry Kane, obviously. Top baller this season. Obviously, in the Amazon documentary, Mourinho said that last season that he was going to help him explode. And that's obviously what he's been doing this season. 11 goals, 11 assists. Fastest player to do that in the season so far.
Oh, really? Fair play. I didn't know that. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, Shiv, what about your play of the season so far for your team? So far.
For my team or in general?
Yeah. For your team.
For my team, I'd probably say Jack Harrison.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm going different. I'm not going to say Bamford. Obviously, Bamford's been great. But for the player that sparkled for me is Jack Harrison. Like, obviously, at the moment, he's from City, isn't he? So he's still a City player, and we have him on loan. But, I mean, if you see him play, like the assists, the shots, the dribbling, the skills, the goals, some of the goals he scored.
Yeah.
Goal against Liverpool was good. Goal against West Brom as well. Goal against Newcastle. I mean, he's done really well. He's one of them players that you're talking earlier about transfer windows. If we were to get anyone, I'd rather Bielsa and the team just go for getting him permanently, because obviously I don't think Pep's going to use him or need him at all. And rather than shipping him off to somewhere else, I mean, we've got the money now. I'd rather just buy him and fit him into the team nicely. And then I'd say overall in the season, apart from my team, if I had to pick a best player, I'd probably pick Son. Because I just think, like, obviously we're only not even at the halfway point yet. And so far, I think, Kane's been good, but Son is electric. Like the pace, skill on the ball, the passing, the goals. I mean, I think Son's the player for me that at the end of the season, Bruno will obviously be up there, but I think Son's gonna pull it through. I think he's still gonna be looked at. Not maybe not as good as, not better than Bruno, but on the same level as Bruno. And obviously, I'm anti-United, so I can't pick Bruno. So I have to go for Son. Like I think Son's a good player. Like if we had all the money in the world, I'd sign Son at Leeds.
Fair enough. And and Abhinav, what about you? Same question.
No? For our team, I'd probably go. I'd say there's three of them. It's really hard for me to choose, but I'd say
Pick
Robertson, Fabinho, and Salah. And if I had to choose, I'd probably pick Robertson just because of how consistent he's been. A lot of our players have dropped, like Trent. They've dropped a level. Mane's gone a few games without a goal. Firmino's gone a few games without a goal. Midfield, Thiago's been injured, but Robertson's been there throughout. He's been injured, but when he's come back, he's just been consistent, like 8 out of 10 every single game, getting assists, being involved in the corners and everything. So his energy alone brings a lot of the other players up a level as well. A bit like, not like to the extent of Bruno, where he's the focal point, but he is very influential. So I'd say Robertson for Liverpool, and I see Salah get a lot of disrespect. Because he's consistently getting goals, but he doesn't get a lot of recognition because that's what they expect from him. And I feel like, I'd give a shout out to Salah as well.
Yeah, to be fair, he's balled out. To be fair, he's done so well. Like, especially the start of the season, he's still banging the goals. I think he's on track to break the record, right, or something, or his own record.
Yeah, but we're not scoring many goals right now, so I don't know.
It's a hard
I'm
one
not
to
really
look
sure.
actually. Yeah, it is a hard one to look at.
Yeah, for best player right now, I'd probably say Bruno, just because of where United were last season and where they are now. The level he's raised them to it's a different level, and maybe even Grealish, just because
Grealish has stepped
everything
up, man.
Everything goes through him as well. Like for Villa, all the attacks, everything. He's really influential as well. So I'd say those two.
That's fair enough.
He's good at diving as well. Yeah.
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 You have to get that one in there.
I had to.
Man.
So Dormish, who's been your player of the season so far?
All right, so similar to Abhinav, really, there's been like a couple really that have stood out. Like Reece James stepped up massively this season. Mason Mount's done immense as well this season. Couldn't even add Thiago Silva in there as well. But I think realistically it's more on the defender. So I think I'm going to go with Reece James just because of the impact he's had on the team. And like I'm not saying Reece James is better than Trent, but I think this season he's definitely like pushing Gareth Southgate in terms of I should be starting at right back for England than Trent. So, but it's all about consistency. If he keeps it up, like no doubt he'll be better than Trent. Like, but obviously we don't know that. So just have to be Reece James, and like that goal as well against Brighton as well at the start of the season. That was a crucial point in the game as well, in the sense of we needed that to kick on basically. So, and he's grabbed the name, scuff of the neck as well in games as well, like Everton as well. So. I probably have to go to Reece James. And I think generally in terms of player of the season, it's a tough one. I think I said to you guys before, and I said to the lads back at home as well, I think Bruno will get a PFA Player of the Year this year. So I think his impact is just immense. It's just been crazy, really. His goals, assists, his hunger, desire to get United back to the top as well. Yeah, so I'll probably just have to say Bruno. Yeah. So that concludes the first episode of the podcast, guys. How does it feel? First one done.
Good. Yeah, people. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Yes. So we've finally done that now. Like I said before, big up all the key workers and the doctors, nurses, care workers and stuff. Doing an amazing job out there for everyone. And we'll see you next time. Sick, lads.